So in cloud hands, it's unlike the movements that we normally do in Tai Chi because cloud hands is a sideways movement. So initially, we are together and we're going to lift one foot up to make it weightless. And we're going to lead with the toe to come down and come down slowly, arch and heel. And the other foot takes its turn as if we're playing keys on our piano, okay? So at no time while we're in motion should there be two weighted feet, because this would be called disharmony or discord, okay? Like a piano boom down like this, but we're going to take one at a time. It's a sideways motion and we're leading with the toe. In other words, the toe starts the movement, okay? The toe starts the movement. The heel cannot lead the movement. Just as simple as that, okay? So that's the bottom portion of our body. The hips and waists also drive our movements because clouds are not just squares that we just use our sideways motion, but we have corners, we have turns. So the hips and waists have to turn with our body, but actually the hips and waists have a bigger role in that they direct our movements, especially for clouds. So in other words, what I mean by that is that if my hips and waists are turning, my upper body will turn with it, okay? My upper body will turn with it. If my hips and waists are still, and I only use my upper, which are my extremities of my hands, that's not Tai Chi. There again, we're not working as a unit, okay? So we're gonna figure out a way to work as a unit to make floating clouds. So mind sets it, this hips and waists drive it, and what we do on the bottom will match the top, okay? So essentially, whatever we do here, we're going to be doing on the top. The tricky part is, what do the hands do? So here are two images that you can use while you're doing cloud hands. One is that they're like egg beaters, in that an egg beater turns, but both at a same rate, but in a different direction. And they're simultaneous. One doesn't just turn and the other one turns, but they turn together. So they're like beating eggs, okay? Another way of looking at it, which is Ken's favorite, is that he likes to give you an image where you're reading the top line of the newspaper, turning the page, and then yet reading the other top, and turning the page and reading. And even when I'm standing here reading my newspaper, it's a natural flow where my hips and waists are helping me. So we can just stand there. Doesn't matter what side of the cloud you're on, and you can just do it with me. So you can understand a little bit more what I mean. So the hips and waists are directing the movements. Your hands have no business moving unless the hips and waists are driving the movement. Okay? So you see that at 12 o'clock, something happens, and the extremities of 9 and 3, something happens. Okay, now we can do it all together. Okay, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Okay, what happens? At 12 o'clock, the left hand has a stem that's facing down in the direction of 12, and the bottom hand, which happens to be our right hand, is in our dantian, navel area. Just kind of, I want to use the word dragging, but just floating. Okay, when I say just floating, it's like this, just floating. But as it goes to the extreme, so can we get down to 9? This is our stem. This is our floating hand, okay? Can you do that? Yep. Drop this one a little bit more. Yep, good. So it's right in this navel area. Drop a little bit more. Yep. Okay. All right. To get out to the 9, turn the hips and waist. You're at 9. 2 things happen. Flip the top hand so you no longer see the palm. Drop it down while the bottom hand takes its place. You didn't have to turn the wrist of that hand. 12 o'clock, do you have a stem and a cup? A stem and a floating. At 3 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hand, change the place. Use the hips and waist to get out to 12. Dangle and a stem. Turn the hips and waist. Change the places. Turn the hips and waist. 12. Continue to turn the hips and waist. 2 things happen. Flip. Turn to get to 12. Turn to get to 9. 2 things happen. Flip. Turn. Flip. Turn. Flip. Every time we do this rotation, you should feel grounded. You should feel your shoulders dropped. And you should also feel that the only way we're doing floating clouds is that the hips and waist are swiveling. They're rotating on your axle, making you use your core, making you aware that the hips and waist are dictating your movements. The spine is keeping you erect. It's giving you a sense of relaxation because we're repeating our movements. And our shoulders are nice and loose and relaxed and not tight. The energy can flow freely through your joints and through your whole system. So as I'm talking and as we do this, we're noticing that our hips and waist are getting loose and getting more relaxed to the point where we feel we need to do something with our feet. Our feet are just there holding us, but our feet can enhance the movement. So this is how it can be enhanced without too much talking. You're going to follow, okay? Use your hips and waist. One more and then we're going the other way. Use your hips and waist all the time. Okay, we're going to stop and only do one thing and do it the other way. Changing our hand position, moving into the 12. But at the 3 o'clock, we're going to do 2 things. Flip the hands, close the feet. Using your hips and waist, open. Close. Use your hips and waist. So what I want you to do is realize that once your hands are set, the only time they really move is at the 3 o'clock, like now, and at the 9 o'clock. Because once they're set up, the hips and waist move your motion. Is that true? Can you test that out? Hips and waist, move my motion. Leave my hands there. Now move my hands. Hips and waist, move me out to 9. Move me to 12. Move me to 3. Only move the hips and waist, going the other way. Close. Move hips and waist. Reverse the hands. 2 things happen at 9. Stem and cup at 12. Move the hips and waist, 3, 2 things happen. Stem, cup, 12. 2 things happen, flip and close. 2 things happen, 3, flip me, close. Other way. So in order for us to keep our Tai Chi posture, which is ongoing, the hands that are floating cannot be too far out, but they shouldn't be close, close, close to your body. Other way. Okay, so they're like a natural distance away from your body. When you look at the clouds and your vision is always only on the top hand tips of the finger. Tips of the finger is where your vision is. However, other way now, okay? You look out into infinity. You don't study and only focus short at the tips of your top hand. So the glance is only on the top. You never look at the bottom to see whether it's floating. Okay, other way. Okay, so I think now we're kind of not really getting dizzy, but we've had enough, right? But all I'm asking is that, well, asking a lot, but covering the real essential principles of Tai Chi, in that no matter where our upper body is, it's being directed by our hips and waist. So if we set our hands up like this and we change places at certain parts, it's only moving. It's not moving because I'm moving my hand. It is here and there because I'm moving my hips and waist. So to make that a little clearer, if my hands were like this and I wanted to move my hands, this is how I would do it, right? It's a hand motion, which is a no-no. But if we say, my hips and waist will get me there, all I did was leave my hands where they are. And they are moving, not because I'm moving and directing them, but the hips and waist are joined to my body, and the faster I go, the faster my hands will move. Same way in this thing. So although you know that you have to do certain things at the extremities and the center of the clock, everything's being dictated because your mind is saying, hips and waist, take me to those floating clouds, or make me that way, okay? So in essence, when we start something new, we want to get to the best precise motion or detail. But in Tai Chi, to get that way is a journey. It's long, it's enjoyable, but we have to then say, how are we getting there? That's the most important thing. We're getting there because something in our core, something in our mind is helping us to move. Okay, so think about that one and then apply it to all your motions. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of fast forward this.